Well, welcome to another edition of TokStocks. I'm your host, Keir Reynolds, and today we're lucky enough to have Ramon Perez, President and CEO of Luca Mining Corp. Trades on the TSX Venture Exchange with the ticker LUCA. Luca. Hey, how you doing, Ramon?
Great, Keir. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
You are either Ramon or Ramon. Either works.
Well, I'm not sure if I can say it quite as smoothly as you, but we'll see what we can do. Well, anyways, thanks for making some time for me. I know you've been busy, lots sort of going on. I've seen your company mentioned quite a bit. You seem to have some good fans and shareholders out there that are doing their part. So maybe before we start to unpack it and get to know who you are and who the company is, why don't we get into our 60-second pitch?
Absolutely.
First question, what is the name and stock ticker of your company?
The name is Luca Mining Corp. The ticker on the TSXV is Luca, LUCA. And on the OTCQX, we trade under LUCMF.
What is your market cap?
Our current market cap is about 70 million Canadian dollars.
And what is the vision of the company?
I mean, our vision is set out to be a highly respected, leading natural resource company. Really, we're just committed to adhering to international standards in mining operations and environmental conservation. And our vision is just deliver excellent value to our partner communities, investors, employees, and just really stakeholders in general.
Why are you best to lead this?
Well, I'm honored by the question, and I'm honored by the leadership role that I've been given. Really, the strength in the company lies in our local operations team. They're truly the backbone of the organization, and they ensure our day-to-day operations run smoothly, efficiently, and their dedication and expertise is really what's driving our success. My role really is just remove any obstacles, provide the resources they need to excel. So I'm fortunate to be here.
Excellent. And how many shares are outstanding?
We currently have about 165 million shares outstanding.
What is the insider ownership percentage?
Insider is just over a quarter of the total outstanding shares, so it's about 26% to date.
Are you fully funded for 2024?
We're a cash flow generating operations out of both our mines, so we have the cash flow to support our operations through the year.
What are your short-term catalysts?
We have quite a few. Actually, that's the exciting part, and what makes it an attractive entry point for your viewers is, we have a gold mine, a brand new gold mine, completing its construction this month, and going into commercial production in the third quarter. And our second project is ramping up from 1,400 tons per day to 2,000. So we'll see a 50% increase in throughput from our second Campo Morado mine, and the gold mine that I mentioned earlier that's in pre-production. You'll see that jump from 450 to 1,000 tons per day. So really, cash flow generation is coming up in the third and fourth quarter. You'll see a true jump there, and also we'll be kicking off a drilling campaign.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for that. We made it through that. Now, why don't we sort of get into our regularly scheduled sort of program here? We're going to do a bit of a deep dive. Why don't we start with you? For some of my viewers and also myself who aren't familiar with you, would you mind sharing a bit about your background?
Sure. I began my involvement in the mining industry working out of a long, short natural resource fund. It was called Carrollton Asset Management. And really our focus was publicly listed juniors that operated in Latin America. So that's where I started off my career in 2005, spent about 10 years there. And in 2014-15, I made the jump to the issuer side and have been focused on advancing mining projects. And I've been in projects in Peru that have been listed on the TSX, in Ecuador, and in Mexico as well. So really the past 9 years, my focus has been strictly on Mexico. It's a country where I grew up. I have a deep understanding of the local landscape, the culture, and particularly the mining industry in Mexico. So really that's kind of sums up my career.
Excellent. And can you tell us a little bit about your sort of journey and how you sort of got in? I guess how you got your role with Luca.
Sure. I joined about a year ago as president and working alongside Mike Struthers, who was the CEO. Eventually, Mike had to leave for personal reasons, so I stepped up just recently to the role of CEO. And really, what attracted me to the company initially about 12 months ago was the exceptional quality of the projects, right? And in particular, the strength of our team, the well-established team we have in Mexico. In addition to that, our board of directors, it's filled with heavy hitters they bring a wealth of experience. A couple of them coming from having worked over a decade in Lundin Mining, so bringing that experience into our team, and really their deep commitment to the company. And it's pretty evident with the board members and how actively they're involved. So, there's that's what attracted me. It's that energy and enthusiasm that extends down from our mine sites all the way up to the corporate offices and up to the boardroom. So, we all recognize the significant potential in both of our projects, and it's exciting to be part of this dynamic team.
How do you enjoy working on the operation side versus sort of managing money and choosing where to invest that capital?
It's it's unique because it's just the people I get to work with. And you actually get to see these projects that you're helping lead come to fruition, and that's what I've been seeing at Luca. Right, we've had quite a few achievements just recently, and there's just some kind of satisfaction by actually completing these projects, and then looking at what lies ahead after you've achieved some already. And that's it's just I guess it's more exhilarating. There's more of a thrill than just investing the capital and sitting on the sidelines.
Well, without further ado, why don't we get into a bit of an overview? So Luca's it's not an exploration stage company. You're in production, cash flow. Could you give us a bit of an overview on the company and its operations?
Absolutely. Well, we operate two mines in Mexico. And this year, from both projects, we're expecting to produce about 60 to 70,000 gold equivalent ounces. That's coming back from last year producing roughly around 40 to 50,000 ounces. So, we're seeing that growth, and going into next year, we'll be approaching that 100,000 ounces of gold equivalent. So, really, you're seeing that growth from our projects. Both projects in Mexico. One is a gold, the Tahuehueto project, the brand new one coming into finalizing construction now. It's a gold project. The other Campo Morado project is a copper zinc project. So really, our focus going forward is to continue to unlock value. We're optimizing those projects and ramp up production. So that's our goal right now. Both projects have significant upside exploration potential, so we'll tap into that this year as well.
Excellent. And so it sounds like you've got some pretty exciting sort of growth ahead of you, going from 60 or 70,000 ounces to nearly 100,000 sort of equivalent sort of ounces over the next year. That's pretty impressive sort of growth. Where's that sort of growth coming from? Is it just bringing on a new mine, your second sort of project here?
So yeah, that growth is coming from our gold project, which, as I mentioned, is a brand new project. That one will be essentially doubling its production on the second half of this year. So we've been in pre-production in that mine for over a year and a half. It's currently at 450 tons per day. We'll have ramped that up to 1,000 tons per day in the third quarter. So that's where you're seeing a lot of the growth come from this year and next year. And in the Campo Morado copper zinc play, our average production in the first quarter was about 1,400 tons per day. And we expect this year to be at 2,000 tons per day, and then ramping up to the nameplate capacity next year, which is 2,400 tons per day. So that's where you're seeing that growth come from in production.
Each of these projects, are they sort of like open pit, underground type operations? Could you give a bit more of an explanation in terms of the two mines and how they how they sort of what type of mining methods you're using?
Sure. So at the top of the Tahoe, they're both underground operations. At the Tahuehueto, we're currently a cut and fill underground operation, and we're doing long hole stoping at sublevel stoping at the Campo Morado, which is a VMS type project. And Tahuehueto is your typical low sulfidation epithermal gold project in Mexico.
And whereabouts in Mexico are the projects located?
Tahuehueto is located in the state of Durango. We consider the fourth largest mining state in Mexico. We're surrounded by some of the bigger mines in Mexico, which would be San Dimas, the Tayoltita area. Peñoles has mines there, so we're in a good cluster of high profile large projects in Mexico. And the same with Campo Morado, which is located in the state of Guerrero, next to Los Filos. We're next to some Peñoles has a project as well, VMS project, and Torex is there as well. So we're surrounded by large projects, and that's what we expect our projects to achieve, that potential as some of those other large projects, and we clearly see it.
In terms of the mines, do you own them 100%? And how did the company originally acquire them?
Yeah, it's a good question, Kier. The Tahuehueto Gold Project has actually been in the company for over 20 years, so it's one of these rare cases in the mining sector where you see a project go from essentially discovery to production in the same company. That gives us a good understanding. We know where the upside is, and that's what we're going to tap into. So we own that one 100%. It's been in the project since, as I mentioned, over 20 years. The Campo Morado project was acquired in 2016, and went into operation in 2000 and restarted operations in 2017 by this company.
Excellent. Thanks for the overview on that. So a hot topic, I guess, just to touch on sort of like central bank interest rates. Mexico's been going through a fair amount of growth itself. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, its central bank sort of rate was 11.5% up until recently. I guess they've started cutting it, but quite a bit higher than our sort of other North American sort of rates.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's Mexico's going through quite a positive transition. You're seeing this nearshoring activity, manufacturing coming back to the country and growing. That not too long ago signed, call it NAFTA 2. So Mexico's well positioned now. The peso clearly showed that through its appreciation. So I think the mining sector is not going anywhere. It will continue to be business as usual. So we're kicking ahead. We're moving forward.
In terms of your two mines, just before we sort of move on, do you have any sort of 43-101 reserves and resources, or are you sort of just mining as you see it?
Sure. We in the Tahuehueto Gold Project, we updated the pre-feasibility study, and the last update was April of 2022, and that showed about currently a resource of roughly 7 million tons. So that gives us about a 10-year mine life. So it's something we really like about this project is, you have a long life ahead of it in reserves, about 10 years of reserves and about an 18 years worth of resources. So it really gives us the ability to, once we finalize this construction in the next coming weeks, now we start looking to continue drilling, to look at doubling production and try to get to that 2,000 tons per day. And what that translates into here is that could get us close to 100,000 ounces just out of the Tahuehueto project alone. So we have some work to do there. We will begin drilling in the second half of this year, but that's, if you're looking at our growth in that project, we've merely scratched the surface at Tahuehueto.
Right.
There's a lot more drilling, and now that we've developed underground, we really get to test the depth of some of these structures that remain open along, at depth and along strike. So this is where it gets really exciting for us. And in the Campo Morado project, There is a resource. There was a PEA completed at 2018. We're in the process of starting to update that. So that resource in 2018 showed a resource life of 20 years. Again, long lives ahead of it. So what we're doing now is we'll update that technical report in the near future, and yeah, have a new technical report to release to the market. So we'll kick that off. It shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 months to complete that.
Excellent. Well, why don't we, thanks for answering the questions on that. Can you give us a little bit more of a breakdown on sort of the cap structure? I know earlier you kind of mentioned how many shares are outstanding, but maybe you could review that again and also include in sort of options and warrants.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, the 165 million shares outstanding. We have about 7.3 million options outstanding at roughly a strike price of 45 cents. And we have about 50 million warrants at about 53 cents that are pretty tightly held, these warrants and those shares. So, we carried out a private placement back in June 2023. We raised about $25 million. And we did quite a cleaning of the balance sheet at that time, converting some of the debt we had into equity. So there was a big cleanup about a year ago. So many of these warrants came from that placement in 2023.
And I guess in terms of that sort of placement and also the other sort of ownership, do you have any sort of institutional ownership now that you're sort of like an emerging sort of producer?
Yeah, we have roughly about 8%. As I mentioned earlier, 26% is insiders. About 8% is institutional. So we have the Mineral and Financial Investments out of London. We had American Capital come in as well. Trafigura holds a stake. So, we do have some institutionals. We were looking to build that up. And I would say another 20% is in close management associates, friends and family's hands. So that's currently how we're, and the rest is probably floating out there.
In terms of your $25 million raise you did about a year ago, who sort of led that? Was that a syndicate of broker dealers?
It was a non-brokered. It was the majority of that was taken down by a fund based out of Vancouver called Kalu Opportunity Fund. They were the anchor investor in that. And then the other, as I mentioned, close associates to management, friends, families, other high net worth and family office that came into that placement.
Well, that's pretty impressive to do it non-brokered. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, that's, we say that a lot. It speaks to the value of the projects and the team.
Great.
And that was done in a difficult time in the summer of 2023. There weren't easy markets, but it's a testament again to our projects and our team pushing. Yeah.
So what sort of quarterly revenues are you kind of trending? I know those are going to change based upon currency and also production and also the commodity prices. But what have you sort of been trending in terms of quarterly kind of revenues?
Sure. Well, last quarter, we had about a net revenue of 22 million. But that will, looking forward, that's clearly going to increase as we double the production in Tahuehueto, the gold project. We finalizing that construction, and then we ramp up in Campo Morado. That'll be roughly about a 40 to 50% ramp up in Campo Morado. So, we expect this year to finish about 140, 145 million in revenues. And next year, we should expect that number to significantly increase when we have a full 12 years of production at roughly 2,000 tons per day at Campo and roughly 1,000 tons per day at Tahuehueto. So, we do generate cash flow. We had an operating cash flow before working capital about 4 million in the first quarter. And as we ramp up production, you'll see input costs drop, see our costs drop on an ounce basis. And So yeah, it's full steam ahead. Really, our third quarter and fourth quarter are going to be our best quarters to date. So,
Yeah, excellent. And you mentioned that with that larger financing you did about a year ago, you were able to clean up some debt. Does the company what sort of debt does the company still have?
the company has about 24 million debt. That's held by Trafigura. 16 million of that is a senior secured facility, and about 8 million is in a convertible held by them as well. The convertible has no coupon in it, and it's in the money right now. It trades at about 35 cents. So that's currently, it's definitely manageable debt. And that's currently where we stand today, the debt side.
And what sort of all-in sort of sustaining cost on a gold equivalent basis are you guys sort of generally operating at? I guess your last set of financials that you would have disclosed, what did that look like on a per ounce equivalent basis?
Sure. Our AISC for the last quarter consolidated between both projects was about 1,500, about 1,550 per ounce of gold. But again, as I mentioned earlier, as we ramp up, we expect that to significantly drop. So we're probably looking at ending the year at about $1,400 AISC. Yeah, and that'll continue to improve. Campo Morado, we're going through our phase 2 optimization plan. So that'll be completed, and then ramping up on that side in 2025, we have more room to ramp up. So we have more opportunities to lower that cash cost.
Do you have any? Are you selling your gold sort of I guess your production, is that hedged or unhedged? Are you
It's
able
on.
to take
Yeah,
advantage of
we're
some of
unhedged
the
on
higher
all our
metal
metals.
prices?
Yeah, we're unhedged, so we're definitely taking advantage of these metal prices, and these FX rates are definitely helping us.
Excellent. And will you need to raise any additional capital, or are you fully funded for 2024?
Yeah, we're fully funded. We're fully funded for this year. Like I this is what I always like to say is when it comes to raising capital, in the right circumstance at the right price, to drive our exploration and to be much more aggressive on the exploration side, because that's really what's getting us excited in this project. So if in the right circumstance or opportunity, could we look at raising money to drive the exploration? Possibly. But right now we're fine as we are. We'll be fine for 2024 to continue. So that's kind of where we stand right now on the funding side for 2024. Again, we're cash flow generating and we're in a ramp up mode, so we're in a good position.
Excellent. And are you looking at any other potential sort of like acquisitions? You reviewing any other projects, things like that, or is the company really focused on optimizing its current two mines?
We have a lot on our hands and a lot of growth ahead of us. So we're just focused on our project. There's so much more value to extract in these projects. Again, ramping up at Tahuehueto and the exploration and looking at getting to 2,000 tons per day at that project in the future. And in Campo Morado, it's a very similar story. I mean, we're producing the metal. We've been successful in our phase 1 optimization, where we took the copper from 40% recovery to 75%, which really got us excited about this project. We took the zinc from 75 to 85. So, just those achievements that didn't really cost us any money were significant. Now we're going to that phase 2. We've done it once. We're going to do it in phase 2. And that's going to increase our revenues and payability there. So there's a lot on our plate. There's a lot of value to unlock at both of our projects. And then we're just going to start turning those drill rigs. Both projects have good upside, and we're excited to start that off. So, to your question, M&A right now, unless it's an incredible opportunity, we're not actively seeking out anything. We don't need it. We have more than enough here.
What does a typical day look like for you as CEO of a company that's not got one but two active operations?
Look, it's if I'm not in Mexico, which I'm often at the sites, and I'll be going down in 2 weeks. I'm with the team. You know, if it's a strategic initiative, looking at methods to to lower our cost, kind of following up on the GMs and the operations team. So it's just constant communication with everyone in the team, and really listening to them and seeing what obstacles I can remove to make their life easier.
And in terms of your size of team, how many sort of like people, including I guess your mining operations now sort of are employed or work with the company?
We have over 400 employees between both projects. Yep.
Wow,
It's a good.
fantastic!
It's
That's great.
yeah.
And I would imagine, what's the community sort of initiatives sort of look like? Highly supportive, very meaningful for the community. This type of work.
Yeah, we're constantly working. We have a dedicated team to working with the community. And again, given the long history of these projects, they're highly supportive. Our community at Tahuehueto's been involved with us for over 20 years, and the community in Campo Morado as well, right? So it's delivering, meeting our expectations with them. That's really the key, right? For community relations is working together with them. They have plenty of job opportunities with us, and yeah, it's been a great relationship with the community. Really fortunate for that.
Why should investors consider investing in Luca right now today?
Well, really, look here. It's an attractive opportunity. We're a 70 million market cap company. We produce metals. We make money on these metals. We have excellent brownfield exploration. Um, we have these key catalysts coming up, and these are long lives. This is not a project that's a restart of a historical mine in Mexico that has a couple years ahead of it. Oh, we have long lives ahead of us, and we have an expansion opportunity here with a fantastic team. Uh, Again, our board is incredible. It's an obvious investment for me. I mean, this is what gets me excited, right? Especially today at 70 million market cap, when you have the key catalyst coming up before the end of this year. Um, yeah, that's the opportunity here. It's really, we almost offer the same amount of upside of an exploration company without the downside risk, right? Of a development company, we don't, you're not risking a capex blowout. We have over $600 million of infrastructure that's been in place for years. We de-risk these projects, and it's just come along for the ride on the upside of these projects. We're going to drill them out, and we're going to continue optimizing, and we've been successful optimizing these projects, and we've proven it. So we'll continue to carry this out. You know, at a 7 million market cap,
Sure.
it's just couldn't be a better opportunity to enter.
And are you doing sort of how many drill rigs are dedicated to sort of like exploration drilling versus production drilling?
Sure, we haven't started the campaign yet. So actually, we have the contractor on site, um, but we expect to have two rigs, initially two rigs at each site. One will be for, I mean, one not production, right? It'll be kind of that near mine exploration, and then we'll have another drill rig drilling from surface. So one underground for that near mine exploration, another drill rig at surface, looking for some more of these big ore shoots that we found in Tahuehueto that we're already have developed into. So we'll be looking for more of those, and all driven around the idea of increasing and expanding from 1,000 tons per day to 2,000 tons per day at some point.
And so, in terms of the catalysts that you've mentioned on what could re-rate your stock, could you just reiterate the three or four sort of catalysts that we should look for over the next 6 months that could re-rate your share price higher?
Absolutely. So at the Tahuehueto Gold Project, we're just installing a last filter press for the tailings, the dry stack tailings, and that's really the last item that allows us to go from 500 to 1,000 tons per day. That's a significant increase, over 100%. Um, So that's a near-term catalyst. That installation will be done by the end of this month, and then July third quarter will start ramping up, and we should see the mine's ready. So you should see the ramp up pretty quickly to get to 1,000 tons per day. That's the Tahuehueto. The Campo Morado, what we're doing is going into that second phase of the optimization was produce a third concentrate of lead. We don't get paid for our lead today. We mix our lead with our copper and sell bulk concentrate. So it'll be a copper lead separation. So that's the second catalyst that'll give us higher payabilities, higher revenues. And then the drill results from our exploration program should be coming in before year end. So those are kind of key catalysts, and these are the big ones that most investors have been waiting for, that have been involved with the company for quite some time, is to finally see the gold project get to commercial production. So we're right there. And in Campo Morado, it's like I mentioned, it's that second phase, just more margin expansion. So we're excited.
Any final thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Again, I just reiterate what I've been saying is, look, this is an incredible value opportunity and a growth story. So, back to 2 cash flow generating operations, technically de-risked, fully permitted, built, significant exploration upside. And, I'm not sure you'll find a better story like this at a 70 million market cap. So, this is quite an attractive opportunity and entry into the stock.
Hey, excellent. Well, Ramon, it was nice to meet your acquaintance. Thanks for fitting me in. I know that you're busy with lots on the go. We'd like to stay up on the story and look to catch up with you towards the end of the summer. At that point in time, hopefully there's a few of those catalysts that we'll be talking about that'll be in the public domain. So really appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us.
Here, thank you. I appreciate it.